A record-breaking transfer window takes another huge twist tonight as Manchester City bid for Riyad Mahrez.
The City have already broken the transfer record once today, but as the league leaders continue to spend, the wait goes on for Arsenal, Chelsea and Tottenham.
But as always, is there enough time to get those deals done?
Still we have time, still we have some time. Still we have some time, also I have some time, still we have some time.
It's always the same, Kirsty, isn't it? And this is no different. Welcome along to the transfer centre as a remarkable window delivers yet more drama tonight.
Yeah, very busy. Now, less than 28 hours until tomorrow's 11 p.m. deadline. And over the next 30 minutes, we have news from all 20 Premier League clubs. And if that wasn't enough, there's also a busy night of football ahead, including 3 Premier League games. Arsenal at Swansea, where Henrik Mkhitaryan and Olivier Giroud both start on the bench.
It really is intriguing tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Only one place to start, and that is with Riyad Mahrez. We are told this Tuesday night that the same Riyad Mahrez has now handed in a transfer request. Damas Sheikh is on set with us, as you can see now, and can tell us more. Damas, this is developing all the time. What can you tell us?
Yeah, Jim, huge story, this one, and the timing will come, I guess, as a blow to Leicester City. We heard about the news around 5 o'clock that, as you said, the player Riyad Mahrez had handed in a transfer request. In the past couple of hours, this story really has gathered momentum. We were then told Manchester City representatives have made it clear what they're prepared to pay Leicester City for Mahrez. It's been relayed back to City that Leicester do not want to sell and that £50 million is far too low a valuation. City's interest, perhaps, is not a surprise. They've just lost, of course, Leroy Sané to injury for perhaps 6 weeks to 2 months. And in a further twist, listen to this, Mahrez did not go to the Leicester City training ground this morning, and he did not travel with the squad to Merseyside ahead of their game against Everton tomorrow night.
Wow. So if memory serves me right, Damas, it's not the first time that Mahrez has handed in a transfer request, is it?
Jim, rewind back to the end of last season, and Mahrez released a statement detailing that the time was right for him to move on. Nothing materialised all summer until a bizarre deadline day. Mahrez was with the national team and the Algerian FA authorised him to leave the camp to make what was described as an express trip to Europe to formalise his transfer to a new club. Now, the rumour mill, as you'd expect, went into overdrive, didn't it? But he didn't end up, well, he ended up staying at Leicester City. Are we in for more deadline day drama as far as Riyad Mahrez is concerned? Something tells me we haven't heard the last of this story with, what, less than 28 hours to go in this window.
Damas, terrific. Thank you very much.
Well, Manchester City have already broken their transfer record once today after Aymeric Laporte completed his move from Athletic Bilbao. The French defender has signed a 5-year deal after City activated his £57 million release clause. Laporte will wear the number 14 shirt and he trained with his new teammates today.
It's not just my decision. When you take a player, you speak with a club, with a Chiqui, with the players that are involved, and I like to hear the opinions for the other ones. But we met him from Spain for a long time. He's a guy who, since 20 years old, playing Camp Nou against Messi, against Cristiano. With the big players, he's playing in front on 40 meters. Valverde play in San Mamés. Is a team you have to attack. He's strong in the air. Is fast enough to go backwards, and a special thing is a left foot, and to find a central defender left foot with that age is not easy to find it, and that's why we try to buy him, and we were able to do that.
Bien, o sea, me parece un equipo además joven. Ahora han cambiado un poco y es mucho más joven. Solo falta ver los resultados. Con tal de ver los resultados ves cómo van. O sea, van primeros. Creo que hay que seguir en esa dinámica y creo que así va a ser. Tenemos que ganar algún título fijo este año.
So here is the most expensive current Premier League 11 by position, if you like. Manchester City signed Ederson, the goalkeeper, for £34.7 million, and he is the most expensive goalkeeper. A back four consisting of three Manchester City defenders, including their club record signing, the man we just heard of, Aymeric Laporte. Plus, of course, Virgil van Dijk at £75 million. A central midfield of £93.25 million of Paul Pogba and £54.5 million, Kevin De Bruyne. And in front of them is Raheem Sterling, who cost Manchester City £49 million from Liverpool. Gylfi Sigurdsson's in there. He cost Everton £45 million. And Anthony Martial, he cost United a cool £59.7 million from Monaco. Huge fees, aren't they? And then this man, leading the attack, would have to be £90 million Romelu Lukaku. And here is the team in full. 6 Manchester City players in the 11, 2 Manchester United players, and 1 player each for the Merseyside clubs, meaning there is no room for any players outside of the Northwest. Credible. In the meantime, let's get more from Dharmesh.
Yeah, so with Laporte on board at City, will there be any departures? Well, Pep would not rule out Ilaikin Mangala leaving. We are told there has been an inquiry from Newcastle United, and it's understood Valencia are also interested.
Doubts about the specific qualities Mangala has. So defensively, he's a top player. The specific qualities Mangala has. So defensively, he's a top player. When we decide to go to Laporte, because Laporte adds something special with the ball, but we cannot forget how important was Mangala when he plays the minutes. He used him because Vincent has a problems in injuries, who has 6 weeks off with John Stones, and Mangala helped us a lot. I remember the game against, for example, Tottenham at home against Harry Kane, and the other players he played top. So it's no news, he's going to stay, of course going to help us because we have a lot of games to play.
Right now to Arsenal's pursuit of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. The good news for Arsenal fans, he's arrived at the club's training ground. However, that is only part of the story, because we reported last night that a fee of £60 million had been agreed between the clubs, which would make the striker Arsenal's record signing. Aubameyang left Dortmund this afternoon on a private jet, a flight that was tracked by more than 30,000 people online. However, despite Dortmund allowing Aubameyang to travel to England, they are yet to sign off on the deal. It still remains that Dortmund won't let him go unless they have signed a replacement. Who could that be?
Dharmesh is with me on what we favourably call the hub. This is our part of the studio we call the hub, ladies and gentlemen. Dharmesh, let's get to it. Aubameyang, bring me right up to date with this, mate. What do we know? Is it close to being done? Anywhere near being done? What do you think?
It could be the most important piece of a rather complex jigsaw, this one, Jim. You can call it a chain reaction, dominoes, take your pick. You cannot underestimate just how important the Aubameyang deal is in the final few hours of this transfer window. It could decide the futures of a few other players. It could even decide if some players will go to the World Cup in Russia this summer. We've been saying all along, Dortmund won't actually sign off this deal unless a replacement is found.
OK. Who do we know that Dortmund are chasing tonight? Do we have a specific target in mind here then?
This is where it gets interesting. We understand their #1 target is this man, the Chelsea striker, Michy Batshuayi. This seems like a good move for the Belgian international. Not getting much game time, is he, at Chelsea, and needs action to ensure he's part of Belgium's World Cup squad, as we've been mentioning. However, he says that the boss, Antonio Conte, will be the one who decides his future. Conte said on Sunday, though, he needs a minimum of 3 strikers because he's fighting on 3 fronts: the Champions League, the FA Cup, and, of course, a top 4 finish in the Premier League. So it is still possible that Batshuayi stays at Stamford Bridge.
Now, if that happens, what kind of impact will that have regarding this man, Olivier Giroud, who we know tonight, Dharmesh, is on the bench tonight down at Swansea with Arsenal? Exactly.
The Arsenal striker has been mooted as a replacement for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, but it's thought the player wants to stay in London. That brings Chelsea into the equation. We are told they want him preferably on a loan deal. Arsenal, though, it seems, want a permanent transfer. This then brings into the spotlight Chelsea's policy on players who are over 30 years old. Normally, they only offer those guys a one-year contract. Giroud is on the bench, as you said, at Swansea City tonight. So if Giroud cannot be done at Chelsea, another option, back up, Jim, back up, is a possible swap between Tottenham's Fernando Llorente and that man, Michy Batshuayi. This one seems to be the least likely, though, Jim. That's because would Batshuayi realistically swap being second string to Alvaro Morata at Stamford Bridge to perhaps playing even less under you-know-who, Mr. Harry Kane? Could this then lead to Chelsea going in for Llorente without a swap? Now, the noises coming from the Tottenham boss, Mauricio Pochettino, would suggest not. The one scenario, Jim, that effectively gives everyone what they want appears to be Batshuayi to Dortmund, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang to Arsenal, and Olivier Giroud to Chelsea. That brings us to the start, and what I said right at the beginning, the importance of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang to these chain of events. But remember, there is a massive time constraint on this one. We've been saying all day, 11 p.m. is when the deadline is in England. In Germany, it's at 5 o'clock. They need to get a move on.
Darmish, terrific. All right, 7 games in the Championship tonight. It is a busy night of action. 7:45 kickoffs, and struggling Hull host Leeds United at the KCOM Stadium, and Matt Murray is here for us now. Matt, good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, it's a big game here for both teams, Jim. Hull looking to pull away from the relegation zone, and Leeds are trying to keep in contact with the playoff pack. So Hull, both teams are struggling for form. Hull haven't won in 7 games, losing 4. That's in the league, and Leeds haven't won in 5 games, losing 4. Both teams expect to play a 4-2-3-1. Hull are making 5 changes from the victory over Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup, so they're hoping that gives them a bit of confidence, but they really are struggling for goals. As for Leeds, they make 2 changes. They've got 4 suspensions, and 2 of those players that are suspended are Cooper, the captain. He'll be replaced by Shaughnessy, and also Forshaw comes in for his debut, and he replaces the suspended Phillips. So a real tight game here, I imagine. Both teams desperate to say get back to winning ways. Not sure which way it's going to go, but hopefully it'll be a good game.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you.
Hello again. So many deals on the go, but time is running out. Tottenham, though, they are very close to getting their man. The finishing touches are being put to the deal that will take Lucas Moura from Paris Saint-Germain for £25 million. Now, these are pictures of him arriving at the training ground this morning to take a medical and discuss personal terms. It is thought the deal will be signed off tomorrow morning. Moura hasn't started a league game for PSG this season. PSG need to raise money to comply with financial fair play rules. Moura almost joined Manchester United 5 years ago. Now, let's go back to Chelsea. We've been talking about them quite a bit this evening. And amongst all the names on their list, it seems now that Edin Dzeko is off it. The one looked likely a week ago, with Sky in Italy reporting a deal had been agreed, but as we mentioned before, it seems it broke down as Chelsea were unwilling to give him the 3.5-year contract he was asking for. Dzeko is 32 years old in March. Now, one man who is making the move, it seems, from Roma to Chelsea is this man, the defender, Emerson Palmieri. Boss Antonio Conte has been looking for cover as left-back for Marcos Alonso. The deal is worth about £25 million, and we are expecting announcements soon. Stay with us.
And more transfer news on the way for you. Plus, at 7:30, it is a soccer special as a few Premier League players make their debuts tonight.
Well, never mind all the transfer movement. Big night of action tonight right across the football leagues. Middlesbrough are taking on Sheffield Wednesday. That's at the Riverside. And Bryn Law has some news for us ahead of this one regarding who's in and who's out. Bryn, good evening.
There are changes to both the 11s that we see. Not too many changes to the Middlesbrough side tonight.
Yeah.
Few issues with sound there.
Oh, good.
Sorry about that, Bryn. We'll go back
Bryn.
to Bryn in just a moment. Right,
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest, they're up against Preston at the City Ground there for us tonight. It is Michelle Owen. Can we hear you, Michelle? Good evening.
I hope you can hear me, Kirsty. Good evening. Yes, Nottingham Forest playing here at the City Ground against Preston tonight. As you say, they lost at the weekend in the FA Cup against Hull. And Aitor Karanka has made 4 changes coming in tonight. Barry Mackay, David Vaughan, Dorica and also Velios all starting this evening. As for Preston, they also lost in the FA Cup at the weekend to Sheffield United. And they've made 4 changes too. The 4 changes coming in: Ben Pearson, Paul Gallagher, Tom Barkhuizen and Callum Robinson. Interestingly, Jordan Hugill not even in the squad tonight. Lots of speculation around his future. I spoke to Preston's press officer before I came up here, and he told me there's been no bids for Jordan Hugill, but he doesn't start tonight, but he's not injured either.
Michelle, thank you very much.
Loud
and clear.
Let's go back to Bryn. We could see Bryn, but we couldn't hear him. Bryn, Middlesbrough, Sheffield Wednesday. What do you know, my friend? Good evening.
I'll shout this time. 3 changes for Middlesbrough involved in FA Cup action. Lost here against Brighton at the weekend. Leadbitter, Downing and Assam Balonga come into the starting 11 for them. The 3 players that they replace, Clayton, Braithwaite and Fletcher, all appear on the subs bench for them this evening. Lots more changes for Sheffield Wednesday, despite the fact they won in the Cup against Reading at the weekend. So Wildsmith, the goalkeeper, comes back in. Butterfield, Palmer, Zhao, Wallace and Jordan. Thornley is the 6th change for them. And the man Dawson, the replaced goalkeeper, is one of those who's named on the bench.
Thanks, Bryn.
Luke Shanley's at Celtic Park tonight for Celtic's game against Hearts. Let's join him right now. Luke, good evening.
Very good evening to you, Kirsty. And there are 4 changes for Celtic this evening. De Vries comes in goal. Dembele, Eboué and also Edouard are in tonight, dropping out Griffiths and Gordon, who are injured. McGregor and Sinclair are on the bench. New loan signing, Charlie Musonda is on the bench this evening as well. For Hearts, 5 changes. The 3 scorers from the last meeting between the teams when Hearts thumped Celtic 4-0 are all back in. Cochrane, Lafferty and Milinkovic, along with Cowie and Randall. Dropping out Smith, Hughes, Irving, McDonald and Stephen Naismith. Stephen Naismith on the bench, an issue with tendinitis today, but he certainly is an option for Craig Levein. Updates throughout the evening from Celtic Park.
Hello again. Less than 28 hours until the window closes. Let's go to a man who Manchester City were in for before Aymeric Laporte came in. But they and Arsenal never followed up their interest in Johnny Evans with a bid. Manager Alan Pardew wanted to bring in a striker, but to spend money on one, funds from a possible sale, perhaps Johnny Evans, was needed. Then Daniel Sturridge arrived until the end of the season yesterday, and it seems West Brom will now keep hold of the Northern Ireland defender.
You have to understand that the pressure in terms of signing a big striker, it's in today's game, puts a lot of stress on the football club in terms of the finances and how a club goes forward. And this deal, being a loan deal, makes life a lot easier for us.
So are you hopeful that Johnny Evans will remain at the club?
I think Johnny Evans will stay at this football club.
Interesting. Another man staying at the Hawthorns is James McLean. West Brom have rejected a bid from Derby to take him on loan. Pardew sees McLean as a key member of his squad as they fight to avoid relegation. To Stoke City we go, and they've agreed a £15 million fee with Galatasaray for midfielder Badou Ndiaye. Arrangements now being made to fly the Senegal international to England for a medical and to discuss personal terms. It's a complicated one though. Ndiaye needs a visa to enter the UK before Stoke can apply for a work permit. Southampton have broken their transfer record this month with the signing of Monaco striker Guido Carrillo. They want to do it again And we're told they've had a £25 million bid rejected for the Spartak Moscow winger Quincy Promes. It's thought Spartak are holding out for £30 million for the Dutch international. Could be a busy time for Watford, both incomings and outgoings. We are told Stefano Okaka, the striker, is the subject of the interest from Fulham. The clubs are in talks for a player who was on loan at Craven Cottage back in 2010. As for arrivals at Vicarage Road, one that they've been chasing all window could soon be done. Sunderland midfielder Didier Ndong will join on loan with the option to buy in the summer.
Thomas, thank you very much indeed. Well, we heard from Alan Pardew there, and he claims that Daniel Sturridge is as good as Harry Kane. Sturridge signed for West Brom last night, of course. Pardew has backed him to break into England's World Cup squad.
You know that there are other clubs who he could easily have gone to, and there would be more than that if you really dug deep. We had a connection, I think, which was important for me and important for him, I think, because he needs trust going forward in terms of what he does well, what's his best role, and we talked about that. I think he'll get that role here, and I think for his career, this was a good place to come. Well, you'd have to put him in the same category as Harry Kane. Harry has had a great spell in terms of fitness and is at the top of his game. And I think that's understandable that he's probably ahead of Daniel. But Daniel has the potential. If we can get him fit and get him anywhere near his best, then and I'm pretty sure Gareth will be taking a close look.
Rafael Benitez insists there's still time to add to his squad before the window shuts. So far, they've signed Kennedy on loan from Chelsea, but have yet to seal any permanent deals. Remarkably, their record signing still Michael Owen. Would you believe it? It joined for £17 million more than a decade ago.
We have been working for 1 month, to be fair, for more than 1 month, but the last month we have been working on names that we had on the list, and that's it. Still, we have some time. We were doing our job before, and now we are waiting and see what happens. Still have time, so I'm confident that we can do something, but let's just know how disappointed I am or not. It's just we have an important game, and I want to concentrate on this game. Still we have some time and see if we can do what we want to do.
Are you able to fully focus on the game with all this going on?
I try to focus during the training sessions, before and after I also have some time to talk with the people that is in charge, and then trying to find the best place for us.
Because there won't be long left once the final whistle goes to the deadline.
Yeah, but still you have some time.
And another signing,
we will see. Still we have some time.
So it's all gearing up to be some finale to the January transfer window, and you won't miss a thing with our deadline day coverage. It's from 6 o'clock tomorrow morning.
So, keeping us right up to date, right across all the live action tonight. Julian in studio for a soccer special with the boys tonight. Matt Letitia, Alan McInally, Phil Thompson and Charlie Nicholas. They're not good, but they're cheap and punctual. Stay with us.